Hey guys, thanks for stopping by for another video here at alliseeisW. In today's video, I'll be covering the latest updates with what we're hearing around the Bitcoin markets. Great news that CPI percentage inflation, it's showing signs of hope here. We're beginning to see improvement. Hopefully, we'll see positive news tomorrow with PPI percentage, but all of this is giving us the perspective that, hey, we may very well see the stock market as well as the Bitcoin market experience a minor hiccup correction and not necessarily like a bear market recession, which typically happens once every 6 years. With corrections, we know that it happens once every 2 years. So that's expected and it's a common thing that happens. So I hope that you're able to take advantage, dollar cost averaging down with Bitcoin, MSTR, but we'll go through the latest technical analysis, just to give you an update with what my predictions are in the month of March along with 2025. Let's get started. Based on the technical analysis of Bitcoin, we're actually seeing, better days with Bitcoin here. Yes, obviously we've seen price of Bitcoin from its all-time high, 110, since the month of February. We've been just seeing downward pressure here, some heavy retracements here, and it even got down to, 70, $5,000. But where we are right now, we're beginning to see potential upward motion here, where it currently stands hovering, around the, close to the 84,000. I think that we may very well see Bitcoin consolidate. I think the key thing is just continue letting Bitcoin consolidate, not let this trace down even further. One of the key things that I'm looking for is seeing whether we're going to have that, that short-term moving average crossing here 9 days compared to 21-day moving average in green here. Hopefully we'll see that blue cross coming up shortly. But one of the key technicals here is I hope that you're able to dollar cost average down when the relative strength was very weak, in that, there was that big retracement down to, 77,000. And we do remember that, the Trump pump here during the weekend on a Sunday. And then following that, when the market opened, extreme dump there. And then, we continue to see retracement in the prior week, which had a huge sell-off, as well as what we saw on Monday, like Tesla, MSTR stock dropping by 16%. But today, the market reacted based on, positive upside with inflation numbers. Now, of course, we don't know what the direction is with tariffs, trade wars. That's still ongoing right now. So it can go any direction right now. But I think that with all of the news that we've been getting, there's signs of light here with Bitcoin price. So that's why I think buying the dips, looking at it from a long-term perspective, there's so much potential here. Just based on the fundamentals, we're looking at the M2 global supply here. So in white, we see, that white line, dipping down. That's attributed to Bitcoin price going down, of course, coupled with the stock market as well. However, the M2 global supply, we're beginning to see M2 global supply tick up here, which is a key leading indicator. Now, with Bitcoin, it tends to lag by about 2 months, 10 weeks approximately for it to correlate with the M2 supply. So with M2 supply showing an upward motion, I mean, it went up by about 3.9%, but think about it. This is the global liquidity. 3.9% means lots of money here. So any movement with the M2 supply here with this positive leading indicator, that's going to contribute to Bitcoin price going up as well as the stock market going up here. So it's just that we got to give it time, about 8 weeks for Bitcoin price to start, showing signs of correlating with the M2 supply here. Now, I think the key thing is, just looking at it from a zoomed in perspective here, we see Bitcoin price just retracing down. But just with that crossing there back in February 2023, we begin to see, the M2 supply ramping up here, now at like, $108 trillion here. So definitely some positive news. If we see M2 supply going down, then that's where we got to be worried, right? But I think this is definitely a great sign here that we'll see, which I'm thinking that, late March, April, we're going to see potentially Bitcoin start running up significantly. Also, just with the Bitcoin outlook here, so just wanted to give you an overall perspective here in that, if the historical trends hold for the price of Bitcoin, we may very well see a resurgence in liquidity growth, in it that it should translate for Bitcoin to have that next leg up here. So, what we see here with that retracement of, Bitcoin just recently here, but with the recent M2 global supply increasing, we may very well just see Bitcoin retrace, consolidate here, and then just have a U-shape, V-shape, bounce back up. So with liquidity surging all around the world, it may take a few more weeks for Bitcoin to really benefit here. So most of you are wondering, what does this mean here? Key thing is that global liquidity, it's a macro indicator for anticipating Bitcoin's trajectory. However, rather than relying on static M2 data, focusing on its rate of change and understanding the 2-month lagged effect offers a much more precise predictive framework. Key thing is we're seeing M2 indicator go up, and we're expecting that over the course of 8 weeks, we're going to see Bitcoin start following that M2 supply. Just looking at how QQQ has performed, so we've seen QQQ has some sell-off, back in, 2024 May timeframe, as well as August. We saw that, that pullback there, and we're also seeing a pullback here, post, February in 2025 here, right, with that pullback. However, I don't think that we're going to go through like a correction with the S&P going into like a bear market, getting into that 20% drop off. I definitely do think this is going to be, a V shape up from here on out. Of course, I don't know what the magic 8 ball will tell us, but probability of occurrence for it to be a correction is much higher than it being a bear market. Just with this posting from Simply Bitcoin, Anthony Pompliano, he's saying that the more Bitcoin goes sideways, the more Bitcoin will move when it is ready. Now, we do understand Bitcoin can't just shoot up and up, right? Of course, it's going to have some retracement. We're seeing it consolidate now over the course of multiple months now. We'll continue to see consolidation, but that will just prime Bitcoin to start running up into the next leg up. Just with this visual here, in fact, congress.gov, we see this bill to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve here. So all of what we've heard, just with Senator Cynthia Lummis here, she's proposing for the United States to buy up 100 billion Bitcoins. And how do we get all that money? That's through assessing, our current value. Think about, the gold certificates. Gold certificates may potentially be used to convert that, reallocate the funds to buy up Bitcoin. Because why? There's just so much value with the appreciation of Bitcoin. And I think the government is now advocating that. We also have Trump advocating for that, along with David Sachs leading crypto and AI space. So all of this is really going to push up price of Bitcoin. So we definitely have some huge catalysts with the Bitcoin Act of 2025. Just taking a look at this posting from the Bitcoin therapist, this could easily go to top 5 end of year. So strategy here, I mean, it's right behind Tesla's by $1 billion, close to NVIDIA. In fact, I do think that it's going to run up here, bypass all of these companies, and then be in the top 5 by end of year here. So definitely a huge opportunity, but I think long-term course strategy may very well be the number one company ahead here with the largest market cap out of all of the S&P 500 companies, bypassing all of the Magnificent Seven companies, including Berkshire Hathaway. Just with a couple postings from Michael Saylor, right? So we've heard about MetaPlanet continuing to buy up Bitcoin. They're using that MSTR playbook to continue to acquire Definitely a great strategy, especially with, dollar cost averaging with price of Bitcoin being below 100,000. Also, Bitwise, they created their new ETF called Own B here. Very smart move with that abbreviation of the ETF. So definitely more ETFs being created here, more inflows coming in. But I think this is because of the sentiment, the market liquidity inflows into, hedging into Bitcoin. I think this is a great move from Bitwise here. So also we heard about Rumble continuing to buy up Bitcoin. So now ramping up their total Bitcoin to their treasury here. They bought up, more, Bitcoin just with the purchase of $17 million. So much going on. Game theory is happening, and we're not bullish enough. Let's take a look at technicals of MSTR here. So what I have drawn out is a bull flag. Yes, we did see that run up to 550 when, Bitcoin, got up to its all-time high. And, we've been seeing some retracement pullbacks here where now just the price of MSTR is hovering in this bull flag channel for many months now. But one of the key things I want to point out is, just with the moving average, the 9 to 21 day moving average here. So we do see the 9 day moving average below the 21 day moving average. But given the fact that we had that crossing sometime in February, I'm thinking that we may very well see that crossing coming up very soon here. We did see that crossing in that near term January when we saw it go down from like 200 50, bouncing up 400. However, that was just a small bump up retracement. But I think one of the key things is that we don't want to see, the support, drop down to 200. If it does drop down to 200, which I think is very unlikely, but if it does, and that's when we're in trouble. But continue to dollar cost averaging down if even if it gets down to this level. But the key things that the traders, investors want to see is, seeing that momentum, that upward movement with the price, getting beyond that $340 resistance. We're seeing a lot of resistance in that area where it's getting rejected multiple occurrences in February. As soon as we see some relative strength, momentum increasing, getting beyond that $340, we may very well see that breakout consolidation. But I think MSTR definitely has opportunity right now just based on the technicals here of it being significantly oversold. We may very well see, MSTR prices start ramping up back to its prior resistance. And with Bitcoin price expected to go up with M2 correlation, MSTR price will follow Bitcoin because their business model is to continue to buy up as much Bitcoin as possible with STRK. They got $21 billion approval to increase the ATMs through STRK, but that's ultimately going to allow for the company to have more Bitcoins on their balance sheet. So who knows, come Monday, we may very well hear a big time purchase of Bitcoin where they're going to be over 500,000 Bitcoins on their treasury. Now, what does that all mean here? Let's hear this quick video clip from Michael Saylor.
It is the most powerful force in the world right now. It's growing nearly 60%. It's become the eighth largest asset in the world. It's about to become the largest asset in the world in the next 48 months.
So what did we just hear from Michael Saylor? He's saying that it's going to be the largest asset. So what does that mean? It's eventually going to bypass gold at $19 trillion, just with total assets right now. And at one point, let's say if the United States starts converting all of the gold certificates to buy up Bitcoin, eventually all of that's going to flip the switch and gold is going to be behind Bitcoin because why? The US has reallocated all of their fair value funds to Bitcoin. And at one point, everyone is going to start racing towards Bitcoin. In fact, we're seeing that now. But I definitely do think that Bitcoin price, we're not out of the woods yet, of course, with tariff news and all that, but we may very well see 150,000, 200,000 with MSTR potentially 3 to 5x in this year. So there you have it. I hope you found this video valuable. If you did, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, turn on the bell notification, and help with the subscribe. I hope you found value from this content. If you did, please let me know what your thoughts are, what I can improve on, and let me know where you're watching from. Thanks, guys.